recommended that OPEC Plus oil production cuts be deepened by 500,000 barrels per day. The Joint Ministerial Monitoring Committee (JMMC) of the OPEC and non-OPEC countries, with representatives of the leaders of the two groups, Saudi Arabia and Russia respectively, met to discuss the state of the oil market in Vienna, Austria. Russia's energy minister, Alexander Novak, said at the end of the OPEC Plus JMMC panel meeting that the recommendations was to deepen the cuts by 500,000 barrels per day in the first quarter of 2020 with full compliance, and JMMC to meet again in March to review the market situation. According to analysts who have run the numbers, deepening the cuts by 500,000 barrels per day considering the October 2018 baseline in the current deal will not be much of a hassle for the OPEC Plus group because they are currently over-complying as a whole with the level of the cuts.
President Muhammadu Buhari says domestic fuel consumption in Nigeria has dropped by 30% since his administration took the decision to close all land borders. Receiving a delegation of Katsina State Elders Forum at his country home in Dara, the president said his government's directive would save the country billions of naira on import bills. President Buhari said he had not given any date for the reopening of the land border until the situation improves. He commended the actions taken by Muhammadu Yusufu, the president of Niger Republic, including the dismissal of officials and a ban on the use of the country as a dumping ground for Nigerian-bound smuggled goods. President Buhari noted that the measures taken by the president of Niger were helpful and supportive. President Buhari acknowledged the hardship of border communities following the ban on the sale of fuel at stations 20 kilometers to the border, a restriction that also saw to the closure of all fuel stations in his native home, Dara. According to him, the restriction was a temporary measure as the Nigerian Customs Service needed to ascertain outlets involved in the real sale of products and those being used for smuggling.
The federal government has expressed its readiness to support the push for a law that will expand the local content policy to other organizations and institutions across all sectors, stating that because of the successes that the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board (NCDMB) has achieved, a lot of discussions are ongoing by stakeholders in other sectors who are already clamoring for the extension of the local content compliance policy to their professional domains. This was the submission of the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Timipre Silva, at the 9th edition of the Practical Nigerian Content Summit in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State.
That because of the success recorded by the NCDMB, a lot of other sectors are clamoring for extending local content to other sectors. Already there is a push for a law to expand the scope of local content to other major sectors of the country.
We have successfully exited appropriation from the National Assembly and the government for 2 years, and we intend to maintain our self-funding status through the prudent management of the Nigerian Content Development Fund entrusted in our care.
Critical major stakeholders in the downstream sector of the petroleum industry rose in Abuja at a meeting chaired by the Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, declaring that they had put in place all necessary measures to ensure zero fuel queue agenda during the Yuletide and beyond. The meeting held at the NNPC Towers in Abuja was sequel to the presidential directive to ensure seamless supply and distribution of petroleum products across the nation. Speaking at the end of the meeting, Malam Kyari assured stakeholders and the general public that the federal government had no plans to increase the pump price of fuel or tamper with the prevailing price of the product, assuring that based on the level of collaboration amongst stakeholders in the downstream sector, the Yuletide season and beyond would be devoid of any form of product scarcity. The NNPC GMD stated that necessary measures had been put in place to tackle all likely or foreseeable challenges that could hamper free flow of fuel-bearing trucks and vessels within the period and beyond.
No intention whatsoever to tamper with the pricing structure at this time, including our tanker driver colleagues and the owners of the trust. So there is no plan, there is no intention whatsoever.
Some of the steps agreed by stakeholders in the parley included clear timeline for loading, stamping and dispatch of fuel tankers at all petroleum product depots nationwide, clear documentation process and procedures for all fuel tankers, among other steps. Also speaking, Salimon Oladiti, Chairman, Petroleum Tanker Drivers Arm of the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPEG, assured that members of the union would work round the clock with other stakeholders to ensure seamless distribution and supply of petroleum products across the country.
We promise that 24/7 we'll be on road. We supply everywhere. We make sure that everywhere is wet with a petroleum product.
On his part, President National Association of Road Transport Owners, NATO, Dr. Kazim Bataya, pledged the readiness of his members to work with NNPC and stakeholders alike, saying NATO was ready to supply enough loading trucks to convey products from all loading depots.
We have given our total support and commitment to NNPC and the government that we will ensure availability of petroleum products in this country for this period.
The Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, has expressed the commitment of the National Oil Company towards intensifying collaboration to achieve desired outcomes in ongoing exploration activities in Nigeria's frontier basins. Speaking on the sideline of the second summit on research activities in Nigeria's frontier basin held in Abuja, Malam Kyari affirmed the readiness of NNPC to lead the campaign, which would ultimately ensure that more works are carried out in this regard, with a view to increasing the nation's reserves, investment opportunities, and create employment for the teeming youths in the country. The GMD, however, noted that this feat could only be achieved through doggedness, consistency, creative thinking, as well as innovative ideas and the deployment of new emerging technologies.
This summit is targeted at finding oil in the frontier basins. And of course, there has been a challenge in finding oil in the frontier basin until very recently. And I believe that this occasion will give the opportunity for skilled people, knowledgeable people in the industry to have a conversation around the science, the technology that is available for finding oil in the frontier basin.
Also speaking at the event, the Director General, CEO, Energy Commission of Nigeria, Professor Eli Jidere Bala, expressed total confidence in the collaborative capacity of NNPC to galvanize the commitment and leadership needed to achieve the expansion drive through research and development as part of the goals and target of the summit.
The nation has confidence on NNPC, and we all have confidence that the frontier exploration services, in collaboration with stakeholders like us, will deliver the needs of the nation.
The Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, has outlined possible ways the Nigerian economy in general and the oil and gas industry in particular could reap from the recent discovery of hydrocarbon deposits in the Kolmani River 2 well in the Upper Gongola Basin section of Benue Trough. Speaking at the recently concluded 9th edition of the Practical Nigerian Content Summit in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State, Malam Kyari affirmed that between the discovery of hydrocarbon in the Gongola Basin and bringing the oil to the market, a lot of processes would be triggered which would snowball into a labyrinth of productive activities with the potential for massive job creation across the value chain. The GMD, who was represented at the event by Engineer Farouk Said, Chief Operating Officer, Corporate Services, NNPC, said that with the initiation of these processes, the economy stands in a firm position to embrace the projected windfall in thousands of direct and indirect employment, noting that as long as there are activities, employment will continue.
This is what NNPC is all about, okay? Bringing jobs to the people, discovering oil, producing oil, delivering that oil to the market, and improving on the overall well-being of Nigerians and Nigeria.
The NNPC GMD assured that the cardinal focus of the National Oil Company was to consolidate its role as the major enabler of the Nigerian economy, anchored on increased exploration activities in such a way as to bring maximum benefits to all stakeholders. The Integrated Data Services Limited IDSL, a subsidiary of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation NNPC, has recorded a significant increase in its revenue base from 5.5 billion naira in 2016, 7.6 billion naira in 2017, to 19.033 billion naira in 2018. This was disclosed by the chairman of the company, Chief Operating Officer, COO Upstream Directorate of the NNPC, Mr. Roland Ewubare, at the company's 23rd annual general meeting held in Abuja. Mr. Ewubare, who described the performance as very impressive, stated that the subsidiary had become self-reliant and would not require any subvention from the corporate headquarters anymore.
IDSL has now, come to stay as one of the most credible and respected SBUs within the NNPC organization. They are not entirely reliant and independent from a financial point of view. They don't require any subventions from NNPC corporate anymore. If anything, IDSL contributes now to the center in terms of support to the larger corporations.
On his part, NNPC's Chief Financial Officer, CFO, Mr. Umar Ajia, commended the company's management on the performance streak, saying the only way we can grow is when businesses like this deliver positive results to enable us collectively overcome our financial challenges.
We have the confidence that the IDSA will be able to send in dividends to the group as part of their contribution to the overall bottom line. And that's the only way we can grow as a corporation when businesses like this deliver positive results.
Managing Director of the company, Engineer Dieprie Taria, attributed the impressive performance of the company to the reorientation of the staff, who, he said, had become more commercially focused and efficient.
Mindset change is key, and we have actually entrenched what I will call the 3 E's: economy, efficiency, and effectiveness in doing our business, in all aspects of our business value chain.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, in partnership with a private law firm, is developing the capacity of its lawyers corporate-wide on modern trends of drafting third-party project financing and other forms of agreement to be deployed to finance its several big-ticket projects. Secretary to the corporation and legal advisor, Mrs. Hadiza Komasi, who spoke at the capacity-building event, said the NNPC was developing the competencies of its legal workforce to prepare them for the several joint venture agreements with its various stakeholders. Mrs. Komasi stated that the seminar would further help the legal division to add to the bottom line of the NNPC, stressing that through the several agreements that would be drafted, the skills acquired will be deployed for the advantage of the corporation.
Today we have a lot of financings coming up, third-party financing, and the only way you can build that capacity is to try to invite people who are very knowledgeable in this area. And there are a lot of lawyers out there that have done a lot of project financing.
Speaking in similar vein, the Acting Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division, Mr. Samson Makoji, said the workshop was in tandem with the transparency, accountability, and performance excellence tape agenda of the Group Managing Director, Malam Melekiari, adding that the skills acquired by the legal team would propel performance excellence of the NNPC.
The new NNPC is running with some great speed. And if you have listened to the GMD, his remarks to staff recently, everybody is very, very clearly charged to get on board, to deliver on the GMD's tape agenda.
General Manager Corporate Law, Mrs. Deborah Usman, averred that the capacity building seminar would help to entrench cost effectiveness and efficiency among the legal team.
We know the onerous task that is on our shoulders, and at every given time we must be able to enlighten our customers, enlighten our stakeholders, so that when we give legal opinions, you will know why we are coming from.
Participants have this to say about the capacity building seminar.
In terms of project financing, I have really gained a lot.
Going forward, we'll try to, limit the length of time of, concluding financing for our projects.
For us, this is very handy, and it couldn't have come at a better time.
We had full insights on project financing and the shipping aspect, which I think is even more major.
It wasn't like a terrain that was somehow strange to many of us, but it was a good time again to refresh our knowledge on various aspects of project financing.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has reported an oil pipeline fire outbreak along Atlas Cove-Mosimi pipeline, part of the System 2B pipeline in Barowa Swamp area of Lagos. The corporation said preliminary reports of the incident indicated that the fire outbreak might have been caused by an act of vandalism by suspected oil thieves. The corporation, in conjunction with Lagos State, have contained the fire and repair works have commenced, which will lead to speedy restoration of the pipeline operations. The corporation commended all stakeholders for their prompt response, assuring the public of seamless supply and distribution of petroleum products supply in the country throughout the Yuletide season and beyond. The NNPC Medical Services Limited has said that there was tremendous improvement in the health status of the corporation's retirees, saying it was traceable to the strict adherence of members to medical advice and proper medication. This was disclosed by the Managing Director, NNPC Medical Services, Dr. Musa Shaibu, during the end-of-year program of the NNPC DPR Retired Staff Association, RSA, in Abuja. Delivering a paper entitled Food Poisoning, the medical director, who was represented by Acting Deputy Manager, Field Clinics, Dr. Abubakar Mohammed, stated that medical assistance offered to the retirees was the corporation's way of maintaining healthy lifestyle among its workforce and retired staff.
Sodium, calcium, that's what helps the contractility of the heart. And that's the first organ that starts functioning in a human being.
In his address, the chairman of the NNPC DPR Retired Staff Association FCT branch, Mr. Vincent Erikumi, stated that the association under his leadership will continue to give priority to issues of members' welfare, noting that the body has spent a total of 4.8 million naira as benefits to the families of its members who died.
Hello, my name is Julia Auto. Glad you could join us on the feedback segment of the program. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, went into retailing business of petroleum products since August 2002. This week, our roving camera on the street is asking Nigerians of their experiences with the NNPC retail stations across Nigeria and even the riverine areas.
We patronize NNPC because we believe that if you buy fuel here, they will give you complete and your fuel will not be burning like other filling stations.
They will make it 7 liters for you, 1,000. That is the reason why I'm patronizing this place, because that 1 liter they had on top, it is not for me, can give me more something.
That they don't adjust their meters here. So we want to believe we are getting the right quantity for what we are paying for.
Here, their liter is a liter.
Thank you very much for that perspective.
You understand? And they have good oil.
You believe.
Some filling stations, if you buy fuel, immediately you leave, you see your motor begin jacking.
Their pump attendants, they are very receptive. They are very okay. So that's why I like coming here to buy my fuel.
If I won't travel, if I come here, full my tank, I don't buy any fuel again until I come back.
I observe personally that when you buy fuel from here, you have the full gauge of your fuel. Okay, it will take you a long time before you return back to filling station. So going to any other filling station apart from NNPC is like a second option.
Their service, whenever you come here, they like you people to be according to your line.
If your tank is in this other side and you want to change to the other side, they don't accept that. They want it to be on the left-hand side where they will sell your.
LUS, they sell fuel. You know they disappoint. I like a filling station, NNPC. It's good filling station.
From the several testimonials, the NNPC retail stations are just the best option for petroleum product services. And that's our package for this week. Please stay with us for the other segments of the program.
Hello and thank you for joining us on this informative segment of the program. My name is Abigail Ojobo. Did you know that the Bonga Floating Production Storage and Offloading FPSO vessel operating in Nigeria is one of the world's largest? The Bonga FPSO was built in 2005 and is 3,000 meters long with height of a standard 12-story building. Did you know that it is configured to receive crude from production wells on the seabed in the Bonga field? The oil is processed on board, stored and sent to a single point mooring (SPM). A single point mooring is a floating jetty anchored offshore to allow handling of liquid cargo such as petroleum products for tanker ships. Did you also know that when fully laden with oil, Bonga FPSO weighs 300,000 tons and is held in place by 300 to 500 tons anchors linked by 20 kilometers of mooring lines? Now you know. Please stay tuned for Global Crude Oil Outlook.
Hello and welcome to Global Crude Oil Outlook. Oil prices rose following the organization of the petroleum exporting countries OPEC meeting as members agreed on deeper output cuts in an effort to prop up prices and prevent a glut next year. Brent crude futures were up 44 cents or 0.7% to $63.44 per barrel. Brent surged 3.6% during the week. U.S. West Texas Intermediate WTI crude futures were up 17 cents to $58.60 per barrel. They settled 4.2% higher during the week. The OPEC Plus group has been curbing output since 2017 to counter surging production from the United States, now the world's biggest oil producer, thanks to rapid growth in shale oil output. Next year, rising production in other non-OPEC countries such as Brazil and Norway threatens to add to the glut. OPEC's effort to deepen cuts and increase member compliance was also driven by the group's de facto leader, Saudi Arabia's hopes to see higher oil prices to support its budget and initial public offering of state-owned Saudi Aramco. Oil prices surged in the course of last week with data showing a large drop in U.S. crude inventories, but prices are still roughly where they were a week ago as concerns about a U.S.-China trade war persists. Thanks for watching. I am Owigo Okolo.
Now that we are very happy that we have somebody who's the GMD that has been part of EITI at the local and the international level and knows that our work is not against the work of NNPC. Our work is actually complementary.
That's been Oil and Gas Forum. This edition, quite a delightsome exposure to all the stories. We hope you found your own takeaways. Keep the date next week.
I'm Deputy Comptroller of Customs Joseph Atta, the spokesman for the joint security exercise. Over a period of time, either through indifference or deliberate non-compliance to the ECOWAS protocol on transit of goods by our neighbors. The Nigerian Customs Service have been raising this issue. MOUs were signed severally. They were broken as soon as they were signed. We've seized over 32,050 kg bags of rice, and that is a huge impact. And then the fact that the